After finishing his undergraduate degree at ELMS College in Chicopee, Deacon Matt Barone worked for a number of years driving a school bus. But as Nick Morganelli reports, that would not be the end of the journey for this native son of our diocese.
The gospel.
It probably started really noticeably before Matt was even 2. When the music would come on, he would stand in the pew and face the back to watch the organist. One of his favorite parts of the Mass as the Celtic Alleluia, the Celtic Alleluia, and used to refer to that as the Lulu part of Mass.
I was in 2nd grade at St. Patrick's School in Chicopee, and we were reading a book about the seminary and about the priesthood, and I remembered as a little kid thinking, gee, that's something I think I'd like to do. As much as a 2nd grader can, make that decision.
He started as an altar server at the end, and he began as a 5th grader to volunteer in the religious ed program with his little brother was making his first communion, and so he volunteered with that program, and then he stuck with it, even becoming eventually a co-DRE in a parish as a young adult. Matthew and I had conversations over the years that if this was what God called him to, that I could not be happier about that. If it was that he pursued this for any other reason, there wasn't anything that could make me more sad.
Years of participating in parish life was only the beginning of Matthew Barone's journey to the priesthood. That involved discernment, mentorship, education, and for this deacon, part of that journey was taken in an unusual driver's seat.
What I wanted to be when I grew up, which were two sort of odd things to put together, and that was to be a priest or to be a bus driver. And so since I was a little kid, I always loved buses. I was specifically school buses. So I drove school buses for 8 years. And, my most recent one that I had was one of our Catholic schools in Chicopee. So I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the work. And even though that was, I liked that and I enjoyed it and I was happy, I still felt that God was also calling me to be a priest.
Other gifts Deacon Matt was blessed with his supportive family, parishioners, and his childhood pastor, Father Don LaPointe.
Matt had always a lot of presence of mind. The opportunity to share something with him that you don't get to share with too many people. He's coming into the life, and so you share some of your expertise or some of your experience, I should say, in life.
Father Don LaPointe is the most influential mentor Deacon Matt has had in his many years of discernment of the vocation.
Matt had already worked in the world, so for him it would be even a harder adaptation. And I remember at one point he said, I don't know why I did this, I don't know what happened here, but I'm starting to think that I'm making the wrong choice. It was, because he was a little overwhelmed. So we just talked about it a little bit and it worked out good. Sometimes he was saying, I just don't know what I was thinking of.
As Deacon Matt becomes priest and celebrates Mass, he'll be using a very special chalice that has a lot of history.
When he was in the seminary and I thought about perhaps I could hand my chalice over to him, I've been doing it for 50 years. And now it's an opportunity to go another 40 at least with it, knowing that the chalice is doing exactly what it was designed to do and built to do, to celebrate Mass and to hold the body and blood of our Lord Jesus Christ. So for me, that's a very, very special thing.
So at the ordination, he'll be the one that'll vest me in my stole and chasuble, the priestly vestments. So he'll do that. And then at my first Mass, he'll be one of the concelebrants.
Deacon Matt is looking forward to all the graces and blessings the priesthood can bring.
To be a pastor of God's people, I think that's one of the greatest gifts that you get to receive, to bring the sacraments to the people of God. So I very much look forward to being able to do that and to continue the ministry that I've started as a deacon and continue that as a priest.
Celebrating our new priests for Real to Real, I'm Nick Morganelli.